Hello YouTube, it has been a minute since I picked up the camera for YouTube. I have been active on Instagram if you follow me there, but I literally haven't vlogged since October, since the Olympia. I just honestly have not been feeling it, and that's the reality of it. But we're gonna start now. We're gonna start because this is my last opportunity to film like an actual off-season vlog. Not that the other vlogs weren't actual off-season, but they weren't like deep in off-season, and there's so much that I need to catch you guys up on YouTube. So I will do that. That's the purpose of this vlog. But exciting stuff. I start prep next week and I'm beaming. I'm so happy. I am so excited. I probably would have started honestly this week, but I just got over this on and off cold. It is the weirdest thing ever. If you can hear in my voice, I'm still like, I still have this throat thing and I still have a little bit of a cough, but I'm almost completely over it, and so therefore it's almost time. So yeah, I'm gonna do probably a sit down with you guys later on in the vlog, just doing a recap of my entire off season, and it was absolutely amazing. I am so grateful for literally everything that has happened, and I am so grateful for my ability to show up every single day for myself, every single day, like even vacation included. And so in this video I will give you an update as far as body weight, macros, which really haven't changed except for this week since I'm in the pre-prep phase, check-in photos, all that stuff. I'm gonna go over everything and try to keep this vlog not super long. So first, I'm gonna start with a little grocery haul. I will show you what I just got from Whole Foods. Okay, so like I said, most of my foods, if not all, are staying the exact same in this little pre-prep phase, and they're gonna stay the same as I transition into prep. So I got some whole eggs, egg whites. That's a new purchase, very new purchase in the last, like, I don't know, 5 months. I have not purchased egg whites, so it must be prep if there are egg whites in the grocery haul. And then I got some stevia, of course, that has been staying. We got asparagus. I got organic turkey, avocados. I do butternut squash every day, Japanese sweet potato every day, and then I do this micro spicy mix or the broccoli microgreens on my avocado toast every single day. I'll put it on my salmon and sweet potato and asparagus bowl every night as well for some extra microgreens. And then I have my chocolate chips that I put in my oats with my second meal of the day. And I really try to stay away from like long ingredient lists as much as possible. If I'm gonna buy something packaged, I really try to get the thing that has the least amount of ingredients. So yeah, that is the little mini grocery haul, and I'm going to show you what my protein sources have been. So I've been doing wild sockeye salmon, and then I've been doing a lot of Force of Nature. This stuff is amazing. Oh my gosh, it tastes so good. Lots of nutrients in venison and elk, especially this ancestral blend, which has some liver and heart, and you can't really taste it because it's not that much percentage wise, and it's, you know, great macros. And then I'm also doing some elk, and this one's just a little bit higher in fat. There is the other venison that is not the ancestral blend that is actually leaner, and I've been doing that one too. But right now, like, I want to get the nutrients that come from the organs in here. And again, you can't taste it, and that's the only reason that I am fine with it, because it just tastes delicious. When's your first one?
8 o'clock. 8:45, 9:15.
Okay. So you're done at what time?
9:30.
Oh, and you're going directly to the gym, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I won't make you breakfast.
Yeah. Well, next time.
Mm-hmm. Just creeping behind the plant. Look at my boys. These are my boys. Needs a little more water. Alright, there we go. Stevia. Do 3 of these. Stir it up. Protein powder. Here's what it looks like once it's all stirred up. Next thing I do the chocolate. This is the Theo Pure Dark 85%. You do 1 square, which is 11 grams. And then from there, I add the almond butter. This is my all-time favorite. I can't stop consuming this stuff. It is really clean and really creamy. It's literally just roasted almonds. And I do half a tablespoon of that these days. And I do it to lick the fork because I teared the jar itself. That's the only way you get to lick the spoon / fork. Some more sea salt because I love salt. And that's the final product. Hey, baby. No, look at me vlogging. That's what it looks like when it's all melted and delish. And for coffee, I have been doing the English toffee stevia drops. I've been staying away from the other artificial stuff. This literally is only 1 ingredient. Well, technically 3. So it's much better, in my opinion. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do a couple droppers. right, and there you have it. That was my final set of the off season. Flashing it back now to October 11th, 2024. This is the Mr. Olympia. This was my first time attending, and it's something that I've always wanted to do. Obviously, it's not a secret that this is my ultimate goal, to get to the Olympia one day. So for me, this was really special. I essentially envisioned myself on that stage the entire time that I was there, while at the same time just absolutely admiring every physique. I mean, it's truly, truly amazing. Obviously, these physiques in person, even more amazing than what you see on social media, right? And it's extremely inspirational. And of course, like everybody else, after watching the Olympia, whether it's on the live stream or in person, you just have this fire under your ass, like even more so than before. And that's exactly what happened with me. I mean, it happens every time I watch a live stream, but being there in person even more so. So I really went to town in the gym after experiencing this live and watching the pre-judging. But yeah, we had so much fun. I got to meet a couple of my teammates from USA Physique. They actually saw me and approached me, and we discovered we're on the same team, and it was really fun to connect in person. And I also got to meet one of my clients in person. So overall, it was just an incredible weekend. We did treat it as a vacation, but I was still 1,000% on plan. So I tracked everything. I hit the gym. I got my movement in. I still stuck to my reverse to a T. So essentially what I did to stay on track is pretty much my first few meals of the day, I was eating in the hotel room. So we Instacarted some food, and I stayed completely on plan with that. And then I budgeted for my meal out. So that's what I recommend when you're trying to make room for these dinners out, but you're still trying to stay on track. Log your food ahead of time. Leave a good amount of cushion, a good amount of calories, a good amount of fats for that meal out that you're gonna have. So we had, I think, a steak dinner the first night, and that one's, when you go to steakhouse, there's just a lot of protein options. So I always recommend you need to prioritize protein no matter what, and especially when you're eating out, your meal should be protein centered, preferably a lean protein source. Or if you have the fats for it, then you can do like a filet. A filet mignon is gonna be way leaner than something like a ribeye or New York strip, right? So filet mignon is usually a go-to, or I do seafood if I don't want to consume very many fats at all in that meal out, depending on what macros I'm working with. And then let's say I don't have much room for errors, for tracking errors, or for the extra oil that these restaurants are cooking with, because they are cooking with a lot more oil than you would cook at home with, right? So if that's the case, if I, let's say, don't have very many fats at all to work with, or I'm in like a prep situation where I need to know exactly what macros are on my plate, then I will do sushi. Sushi is really safe because if you just order sashimi or nigiri and you weigh it out, which is honestly what I do, I have a little mini pocket food scale, and it's super awesome. It's, again, tiny, so you don't feel like just weird carrying around this giant food scale. So I got it on Amazon. Actually, Jason got it for me on Amazon, and I highly recommend it. If you are a competitor, you do need to go to these quote unquote extremes in order to stay on track and stay on plan. The average person that is just looking to lose weight, no, you don't necessarily need to bring your food scale to the restaurant. But what we do as competitors, again, it's not the average person, it's an extreme, and we're trying to achieve extreme results. And so therefore you do need to be a lot more diligent. And this is the sushi place that we went to, super awesome. And then this clip is the next, actually our last day in Vegas. We stopped at this hookah bar, and it was amazing. The food options were super awesome. I was actually pleasantly surprised. They had a lot of clean options, so I ended up ordering a grilled chicken plate with vegetables. At this point in my off season, I am almost 8 weeks post show and 116 pounds. I feel really good in my skin, but I do not have my period yet. And that's something that I really prioritize getting as soon as possible post show. Now, my body had other plans, even though I did deload for an entire week after the last show of the season. I didn't train for an entire week. I reduced my physical stress as much as possible. I was eating 21 to 2200 calories, actually more like 2200 calories every single day. It still took a while for me to get my period back. That's just the way my body is, and it took about 12 weeks. So I did end up getting it while we were in Europe, and sometimes it can be related to body fat. So some women will not get their period back until they have a certain amount of body fat on their frame. And sometimes it's a combination of both, right? The body fat and the stress that that woman is experiencing. There's just a lot that goes into it that I obviously don't fully understand, and that I think most people don't fully understand, but we do know that the more stressed the female body is, the less likely you are to have a menstrual cycle. And the female body does not like to be at really low body fat levels. It's not going to prioritize having babies, right? And that's the whole point of the menstrual cycle. If it perceives that you can't even keep yourself alive. But anyway, transitioning to our Europe trip here. So this is October 29th, and we are heading to Italy here, and it was an absolutely incredible trip. I mean, I just get emotional looking at all these pictures and videos, but hopefully you guys enjoy. I was here for almost a month with Jason, and I did pay a lot of attention to my nutrition, right? Because I was not about to come back from Europe and gain a bunch of weight and completely destroy all of the efforts that I put into my reverse. So what I did was I didn't track, but I did keep structure. I didn't mindlessly snack, and then I still centered all my meals around protein. I did indulge when I felt like it was worth it. So when we were trying a really good pizza place, or when we were trying a really good panini place, or when we were trying a really good gelato place. Most of the plates I would share with Jason. I would have a little bit of it, just enough to indulge and to enjoy, and then I would hand off the rest. It was really all about portion control, not overfeeding. And then also we were very active every single day, getting our steps in. We hit the gym most days. And again, I was just very mindful, and it paid off because when I came back, I was only up a few pounds. So I left at 117 pounds, came back at 120 pounds. After Italy, we went to Paris, and it was incredible. The food, insane. Again, practice my portion control. He put down the vast majority of the food you see pictured. And then actually while I was away, I was coaching a couple of my athletes. So I had 2 athletes compete, and they both did really well, and that was super fun. And then this is actually December, end of December, Christmas time. We went to Kauai, and again, I had the same plan of action where I was prioritizing lean protein sources, eating mostly whole foods, and just being mindful. Fast forward to January 11th in Vegas. I got invited to be a part of the Ifbb Pro panel at this workshop where Sandy was presenting, and it was such an awesome experience. It really made it feel real, like, wow, I am one of the pros. Like, it still does not click sometimes, and I feel so incredibly blessed to have been a part of that really cool experience. January was actually an incredibly tough month, hormonally speaking. I had so many hormonal swings. It felt like I was PMSing all day, every day. But luckily, that didn't last for very long. Come February, I started feeling better. And now that it's March, I'm looking back and, I realized that in January, I honestly questioned whether I was even going to be anywhere close to being ready physically for a prep because of how crappy I felt in January. But February was a lot better. March, even more so. And now I'm at the point where I feel really good again. So I don't know what it was. January was just tough. Maybe it was just all the travel and all the stress compounding. But now we're good. Now we're thriving. And now I am in prep. Today is March 26th while I'm recording this. And I am in prep. This is day 3 of prep. All right, so now we're in present day, essentially. So March 19th, I took my final off-season check-in photos. And these were actually, since October, the only check-in photos that I had taken. Because, like I said, I was struggling mentally with all those hormonal swings that I just really didn't want to take my check-in photos. But I am seasoned enough at this point where I trust what I'm doing. I'm adherent to a T to my own protocol because I self-coached my entire off season. So I am experienced enough at this point where I can get away with not doing those check-in photos for a bit. But if you're not a coach yourself and you're not super in tune with your body, then I don't recommend it. You should still be doing your check-in photos and sending them to your coach. But I digress. So I was very pleased with what I saw. And, it just goes to show you that most of the time we're just in our heads and you just have to rip the Band-Aid. And while I really didn't want to take these pictures, I knew that I had to. And so I did it. And actually, I was pleasantly surprised with what I saw. And I was very proud because on the left, I am 9 weeks into prep in 2024. On the right, I am at peak off-season body fat levels. I am 7 months into off-season. I didn't cut at all throughout those 7 months. I did not drop my calories once. Every single day, I consumed a minimum of 2,100 calories. And my ultimate goal was to prioritize my health and get my hormones back up to baseline and get myself physically ready. Mentally, I've always been ready to hop into prep again, but that's not going to do me favors for my longevity in the sport. I am somebody who loses her menstrual cycle when I go into prep. I typically lose it about 2 months in, and so I cannot afford to constantly be cutting. I can't afford to constantly chase lower calories. And if I want longevity in the sport and I want to continue this for years, then I do have to get myself out of the deficit as soon as possible, as soon as I'm off stage. And I do have to put on healthy amounts of body fat. And all of us women do. And if you find yourself constantly restricting because you're afraid to gain weight, well, eventually it's going to catch up to you. And eventually you might get to a point where you're just so burnt out, like physically and mentally, that you're not going to want to compete anymore. So anyway, I could talk about this for hours, but I'm not going to. I am just very happy about my current position, and I'm thrilled to be able to begin prep. This is where I wanted to be. I wanted to start prep in a better position, better body comp, lower body fat than the previous prep, and just more balance. And I think I've achieved that. And so I have faith that I'm going to bring the improvements that I need to bring to be competitive. And if it's not this season where I break into the first call out, well, then maybe it's the next season. Again, my goal is to just improve, and that's always the goal, right? You cannot control who shows up. All you can control is your own improvements and working on yourself and your posing and your off season. Honestly, off season is what separates amateurs from pros, and even pros from competitive pros. So I am doing everything that I can to be a competitive pro. And we'll see how this season pans out. I'm shooting for August, and I do have some shows in mind, and I will keep you guys posted. But thank you so much for hanging out all the way through the end. If you made it to this point, 29 minutes in, wow, you're amazing. Please comment below if you did, because I would love to connect with you. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.